¿Qué onda, gente? ¿Cómo estamos? Bienvenidos a otro video más. Mi nombre es ML, soy MK Eye of Tiger. ¿Cómo están, pinches campers? ¿Ya están listos? Estamos todos listos para el desmadre. Vamos a compartir este show, ¿vale? Vamos a compartir este rollo. Déjenme comparto este bonito show. Y vamos a ver qué es lo que se puede hacer, ¿vale?
Ha llegado Bowcito, uno de los que más
a todos los que van llegando, buenos días. Vamos a ver qué hay en la Gamescom. Vamos a ver.
Bienvenido.
¿Qué es lo que va a haber? Esperemos que muestren algo de Halo Infinite. Es lo que yo creo,
Daniel
¿no? Vamos
Juárez,
a ver qué show. A ver, espérense. Vamos a ver la Gamescom.
Steven Ochoa,
entonces, pero ya. A ver. Copiar, tuitear. Y luego vamos a ponerla en el caralibro. En el caralibro vamos a ponerla. Caralibro. Listo, vamos a ver qué show, ¿no? Vamos a ver qué rollo aquí. Ok, vamos a ver, ¿dónde la voy a ver? ¿En el canal de Xbox? ¿Está en el canal de Xbox? Ok. Vamos a buscar en YouTube el canal de Xbox. Xbox. A ver, sí, aquí está, mira. La Gamescom, aquí está. Faltan 17 minutachos, gente. 17 minutos. ¿Cómo están? Mientras vamos a platicar cómo están. Jugoso. No mames, gente, ayer qué desvelada me metí, ¿eh? Qué desvelada me metí ayer. Me acosté como a las 4:30 de la mañana. Voy a platicar por qué. Gracias. Vayan dejando su hermoso like, nenes. Vayan dejando su hermoso like. Sucede. Yo tengo una capturadora. Ah, perro, ya empezó, ¿eh? Ah, no, es como música, ¿no? Le bajo un poquito. Sucede que yo tengo una capturadora 4K, el gato H60S Plus. Una capturadora USB. Entonces, de repente me empezó a fallar. Bueno, no me empezó a fallar.
Ojo en el chat, ha llegado Emilio Díaz, uno de los que
de
más
repente
apoya a este
ustedes
canal.
veían los streams que se paraba, que se detenían, que tiraba cuadros. Yo dije, what the fuck, yo pensé que era mi computadora, que algo estaba pasando. No, gente. De repente empezaba yo a grabar gameplays así con la capturadora y los grababa horribles, se detenían, se paraban. Yo dije, güey, ya se descompuso la capturadora. Pues yo bien preocupado, güey, porque pues me costó casi 15,000 pesos en su momento. O 12 y cachito, por ahí así. Entonces ni la acabo de pagar, güey. Entonces, dije, güey, qué raro. Y es una capturadora que también graba en tarjetas SD. Entonces yo me ponía a grabar en tarjetas SD los gameplays, güey, y los graba increíble, o sea, con una calidad mamalona, güey. Entonces yo bien preocupado dije, no mames, pues qué pedo con esto, güey, o sea, no encontraba yo la solución y ya llevaba yo varios días así, nomás que pues no les decía. Entonces lo que hice fue conectar mi vieja capturadora, el gato H60S, y hacer un chingo de desmadre, o sea, jugar en 4K, pasar la señal en 1080 a la capturadora normal y tener la otra capturadora para grabar gameplay. O sea, mi idea es aprovechar mi tiempo lo máximo. O sea, mi idea es estar jugando con ustedes Gears y si saco una partida buena, no resubir la partida con la que jugamos y con la que que ganamos, sino recibir un gameplay limpio.
Eric Morales.
Quizá el mismo, pero no tiene la cámara, tiene buena resolución y lo puedo utilizar para gameplays comentados. No sé si me explique. Entonces, entonces resulta que estaba yo, pues en ese dilema, güey. Entonces yo dije, lo voy a instalar en la laptop, en esta que tengo acá al lado. Dije, pues aquí lo voy a instalar. Y pues a ver qué pasa. Y resulta que en la laptop igual hacía lo mismo. Entonces yo dije, güey, pues ya se me descompuso la pinche capturadora, güey. O no sé qué verga. Cagadamente, un día me equivoqué de capturadora. Esto fue así, algo que pasó fortuito. Yo dije, bueno, pues voy a grabar mis gameplays con la otra capturadora, con la normalita, la de siempre. Y de repente empiezo a grabar y grabo y veo que sigue grabando igual de mal. Y yo dije, no mames, pues que no puse a grabar la otra capturadora. Y me doy cuenta, y efectivamente estaba yo grabando con la capturadora H60 con la que he grabado toda la vida mis gameplays. Y también se veían de la verga, se veían culerísimos. Yo dije, no. Aquí algo anda mal. Entonces ahí dije, deben de ser los drivers de video. Actualicé los drivers de video, me puse a hacer cantidad de mamadas, etc. Y yo dije, güey, esto debe de ser. Estuve haciendo mis pruebas, estuve haciendo varias cosas, mamalonas, que esto, que el otro, la chingada. Igual, cabrón. Entonces yo dije, güey, esto empezó a pasar, tiene poco, no tiene mucho, o sea, como que empecé a, mi cabeza empezó a pensar en distintas soluciones. Dije, no es la capturadora, porque si fuera la capturadora grabaría mal los gameplays en la SD, y en la SD los graba de la chingada, ¿no? Entonces entonces los graba, puta, con una calidad, güey, mamalón en 4K. Y puta, o sea, el pedo es que pues la SD que tengo es de 64 gigas y cabe yo creo que 1 hora de gameplay a lo mucho. Pero bueno, con eso yo estaba tranquilo y sabía que no era la puta capturadora, güey. Y también dije, y qué raro que también la otra capturadora esté haciendo lo mismo, güey. Bueno, después de un chingo de desveladas, bueno, de muchas desveladas, pero de muchas tardes haciendo pruebas en las dos computadoras, me di cuenta que el problema de todo este pedo, ¿se acuerdan que yo pues siempre había transmitido? Miren, yo desde hace un año, ya voy a cumplir un año que estaba yo usando la capturadora en 4K y con eso transmitía. Y se veía poca madre, o sea, jamás tiraba cuadros, jamás se trababa, o sea, incluso hasta revisé mis gameplays de Resident Evil. Dije, pues en los gameplays de Resident Evil se debe de ver, qué pedo, ¿no? Y no, o sea, vi otros gameplays de otros juegos que he jugado y no, se veía chingoncísima. Yo dije, güey, o sea, qué pedo. Entonces, metiéndome al soporte técnico del gato, nadie dice nada, o sea, no hay nadie que tenga mi problema. Y yo dije, puta, esto no me pasaba hace 2 meses. Y ya que me pongo a revisar el historial de actualizaciones del gato, y veo que han sacado 2 últimas actualizaciones de software, güey. Y yo dije, verga, güey, ¿será el software? Y que me pongo a revisar el historial del software y que instalo la primera versión que yo instalé. Cuando yo compré esta madre, el H60 recién había salido al mercado. Instalé la versión de software con la primerita, ya hagan de cuenta, es la 1.70 la que yo instalé, y la que está ahorita es la 1.74, ¿no? Instalé la 1.70 y dije, o sea, yo era fácil, yo me metía a Fortnite, jugaba un gameplay y se veía de la verga. O sea, en el preview me lo pone bien, pero cuando le pongo a grabar, se grababa así con un chingo de colores feos, culerísimo se veía. Dije, no sé qué pedo. A veces lo hacía bien, a veces ratitos bien, ratitos mal, o sea, era una mamada. Empecé a darme cuenta que ese software estaba utilizando la tarjeta de video para renderizar, y yo dije, aquí hay algo raro. Esta madre no tiene por qué usar la tarjeta de video para renderizar ningún video, porque tiene su propio software interno para renderizar. Entonces yo dije, qué verga, ¿por qué? Entonces me metí, conecté la capturadora, la H60 viejita, y vi que tenía la opción de renderizar con la tarjeta de video. Yo dije, no mames, pero no, porque estas madres tienen su propio codificador dedicado, o sea, no necesito tener nada para renderizar en la PC. Entonces el secreto lo encontré en que en el Gato H60 te permite seleccionar una opción nueva. ¿Con qué renderizas? Si con la tarjeta de video o con el codificador interno de la tarjeta. Entonces le puse con el codificador interno, güey, y puta, santo remedio para la H60, para la que es 1080. Pero la 4K no te deja escoger. Entonces dije, esta madre es un problema de software. Pues que me voy al historial de software, instalé la 1.70 y puta madre, güey, mágicamente, güey, volvió a funcionar la tarjeta como funcionaba. De hecho dije, a ver, con la 1.70 funciona, voy a instalar la 1.71 que corregía muchos bugs que tenía la 1.70. Y bueno, instalé la 1.71 y sí, güey, de hecho ya pude hacer streams con la capturadora 4K como siempre. Y me puse a jugar Fortnite, me puse a jugar Warzone en la calidad más mamalona que tiene la computadora, porque yo siempre lo tenía en Full HD y todo el pedo, o sea, mamalón, güey. Y, güey, sin pedos, la imagen... ¿Se acuerdan que nos poníamos en el menú de Warzone y los muñecos como que se trababan? O sea, estaban parados los pinches muñecos y se trababan. Bueno, con esta madre se solucionó este problema, güey. O sea, ya puedo grabar bien en flashback, en grabaciones en vivo, en 4K. Entonces el puto problema, güey, es el software del gato, güey. Afortunadamente existe un historial de las actualizaciones que van haciendo. Y no quiero pensar que esta es una obsolescencia programada, ¿sí me explico? Como para que digas, güey, ya me está fallando la tarjeta, güey, me tengo que comprar la otra, la que sigue, güey. Que esta que yo tengo es la más cara del mercado actualmente. ¿Por qué? Porque es USB y porque es portátil, o sea, tú te la puedes llevar a un evento, conectas el aparato ahí, grabas en tarjetas SD, está mamalona. Pero se me hacía muy raro, güey. Entonces ayer pude solucionar ese problema. Instalé en la laptop el software del gato, pero en la laptop pues debe ser por la memoria, porque tiene 16 GB nada más. Pues no graba tan bien en 4K, pero sí graba bien en 1080, ¿no? Entonces y además es una laptop, no tiene el mismo poder de la PC. O sea, esta madre sí necesita mucho hardware para que funcione bien. Entonces hay por ahí algún problemilla todavía que no resuelvo. Pero por lo menos que ya no se trabe, que ya grabe bien, en la PC ya lo solucioné. Entonces ayer me acosté a las 4 de la mañana, estuve haciendo pruebas, streams privados, a ver si se podía, a ver qué chingados pasaba, a ver qué gestos hacía. Y pues no, la verdad se ven súper bien los streams. Normal, como los han visto hasta ahora. ¿Se acuerdan que llegó un momento en que se paraba y se trababa y me decían, se traba esa madre? Hay mucho lag, no.
Ojo, en el chat ha llegado
Gervasio y es un suscriptor Ultimate. Bienvenido. Entonces era lo que estaba pasando. Entonces ayer me acosté como a las 3:30 de la mañana grabando gameplays, probando. La puta madre, el Nemesio. Y pues, güey, logré solucionar el problema instalando los softwares anteriores del gato. Entonces, no sé si más adelante el gato saque una solución para este problema. Vamos a ver ya empezó este pedo. Alan Greenberg. No puedo creer que han pasado 2 años de que nos vimos en personas en Alemania. Y han pasado 6 años desde que hicimos nuestro primer Xbox Fan Fest.
On the Rhine River, right there in Cologne, Germany. I have so many wonderful memories from back in 2015.
Tengo muchísimos recuerdos de esos, de los fans. También recuerdo que estaba lloviendo y que aún así nos las pasamos súper bien y me dio muchísimo gusto ser parte de esto. Y bueno, también a Mayor Nelson y a todos los que estaban en el equipo, estuvimos esperando ese evento. Hasta este momento nos estamos conectando a través de alrededor del mundo con Xbox. Y pues bueno, en Xbox valoramos esos recuerdos Y ha sido un año emocionante para nosotros y esperamos pronto poderlos verlos a todos en persona, viajar a Alemania y vamos a regresar con ustedes en el futuro. Pero me quiero tomar un momento para celebrar a la comunidad de Xbox y a la gente que se sigue conectando con nosotros. Cuando veo a la gente cara a cara, escucho sus historias reales, los entiendo. El poder de las redes sociales conectadas. Este año vamos a lanzar todo lo que los fans les gusta de la Gamescom. Estamos trabajando con nuestro equipo de estudios para responder todas las preguntas que ustedes puedan tener. Dice, la comunidad de la Gamescom ha crecido alrededor del mundo. Dice, hemos estado viéndonos unos a otros, cuidándonos, especialmente en estos difíciles momentos, ¿no? Dice que la situación que está pasando hoy en el mundo en los videojuegos es una de las mayores industrias que está conectando gente alrededor del mundo. Dice, vamos a celebrar en Europa, en Alemania y sobre todo la comunidad europea todo lo que Xbox tiene para nosotros. Estemos en persona o no, nosotros estamos conectados con nuestros recuerdos y con la pasión con los juegos. Todos nosotros, el equipo de Xbox y la comunidad de Gamescom fans, gracias por estar con nosotros, por unirse en la Gamescom 2021. ¡Ah, pirro, güey! Yo debería trabajar. Ahí sí te fallo, carnal. No sé qué diga. Ahí están los títulos arriba.
Ich liebe an der Gamescom, dass ich dort die Möglichkeit habe, mich mit anderen Community-Members zu treffen, die ich vielleicht nur
no, la puta que nos parió, yo no sé alemán.
Aber natürlich auch Freundschaften zu pflegen.
La puta que nos parió, le besio. Vayan dejando su hermoso like.
Relativ wenig Gelegenheit, sich auf einer persönlichen Basis zu treffen.
Gracias, asesino. Vayan dejando su like, nenes, por favor, ayúdenme con un hermoso like que yo lo vea.
Und die vielen Merchandising-Stände komplettieren dann das ganze Gesamtbild. Mit Gamescom verbinde ich ganz stark Community. Ganz einfach, weil bei meiner ersten Gamescom 2014 habe ich so meine eigene Community so ein bisschen gefunden. Genau, weil ich immer herausgefunden habe, dass es Leute gibt, die genauso verrückt sind wie ich und auch in ihrer Freizeit Kostüme bauen, ausspielen und ausfilmen und allem möglichen. Ja, und da habe ich einfach einige meiner besten Freunde tatsächlich kennengelernt, die ich immer noch sehr wertschätze.
Hallo, mein Name ist Paulina. Ich cosplaye eine Odyssey aus Halo und ich liebe die Gamescom, weil ich sehr viel Zeit mit meinen Freunden da verbringen kann, weil ich beim Xbox-Stand sehr viel Zeit verbringe und es liebe, mit den Menschen zu interagieren, die die gleichen Gaming-Interessen haben wie ich. Mein Lieblingsmoment war auf der Gamescom 2018, als wir mit unserer Halo-Gruppe auf der Bühne standen und einfach zusammen die Fans anschauen konnten. Und ich hoffe, dass wir das nochmal machen können.
Mein Name ist Daniel Heithorn, Gamertech-Schnittgemüse. Und was ich an der Gamescom so toll finde und liebe, ist, dass sie wirklich zentral in Deutschland, in Köln liegt und dass sie alles verbindet, was Gaming ausmacht. Videospiele, Cosplay, Streaming.
Todos los pins que tiene atrás, ¿ya vieron? Todos los pins que tiene atrás, mira. Tiene varios bien raros, Ojo con este brother.
Die Gamescom sind auf jeden Fall die Xbox-Events. Alleine das Xbox Fanfest oder das Xbox Open Doors Event, wo ich wahnsinnig viel Spaß hatte, wahnsinnig coole Leute kennengelernt habe. Und ich hoffe, dass ich das in den nächsten Jahren mal wieder erleben kann, weil es fehlt mir wirklich sehr und ich habe da voll Bock drauf.
Hey Leute, was die Gamescom für mich bedeutet, wollt ihr wissen? Also ich muss sagen, die Gamescom ist für mich schon immer eine riesige Gaming-Community gewesen, wo auch die Xbox-Fans als große Familie zusammenkommen, sich in die Arme nehmen, Freundschaften schließen und einfach gemeinsam Videospiele aus der ganzen Welt feiern.
Die Gamescom bedeutet für mich auf jeden Fall so eine Art Familientreffen. Es sind einfach so viele gleichgesinnte Leute da, die alle Bock auf neue Games haben, generell dem Gaming unterliegen sind quasi. Und dass man ganz Leute trifft, die Spiele betesten kann, die Community, die man eventuell so kennt.
Tenemos un nuevo
Ein
suscriptor.
Riesentreffen
Bienvenido.
von Gleichgesinnten, die alle Bock auf das Gleiche haben. Das ist für mich Gamescom.
Hey, ich bin Roberta. Die Gamescom ist persönlich für mich ein Event, auf das ich mich jedes Jahr freue. Ich war 2012 das erste Mal da und was soll ich sagen, ich bin seitdem ein Dauergast geworden. Ich nehme jedes Jahr Urlaub, weil es einfach megamäßig Spaß macht, dahin zu fahren. Ob mit Freunden oder mit Bekannten oder generell neue Leute, die du da kennenlernst. Es macht mega Spaß, es ist immer ein Erlebnis.
Hey troopers, it's Gray from the 4th or 5th European, and I'm here to tell you why I love Gamescom.
Ah, cabrón, ese güey sí habla inglés.
Like the brand new Xbox. Or the upcoming
Dice, les voy a
video
decir
game
por
releases
qué
like
amo la
the
Gamescom.
new Halo.
Desde que me compré una Xbox, disfruté Halo y me he divertido con estos cosplays. Tengo todo lo que me gusta en una sola
Gamescom
cosa.
bedeutet für mich persönlich extrem viel. Es ist nicht nur ein Urlaub, es ist jedes Mal ein Riesenabenteuer. Jeder einzelne Messetag ist speziell und man weiß nie, was passiert.
No, güey, el alemán es
Ich
otro
habe
pedo,
so
güey.
viele lustige und tolle Dinge erlebt und möchte keine Sekunde davon missen.
Was war die schönste Erinnerung an die Gamescom, als ich mit meinem Rollstuhlfahrer-Onkel, der ist ja schon über 60, den habe ich mitgenommen und der war ganz begeistert von dem Xbox-Stand. Alles war ebenerdig. Die
Voy a bajar un poquito porque lo importante es que se vea mi cara, ¿no? La puta del
klasse, die waren total aufmerksam, echt super geil.
Hi, ich bin Nicole, alias Niki40 und es gibt
Cortana.
jede Gründe, warum ich Gamescom lebe. Es
Maldita
fängt mit den
Cortana.
Games an, geht über Merch, Loot, übers Cosplay und hinaus zu meinen Freunden. Gamescom ist für mich das Event im Jahr, wo ich die meisten meiner
Ojo, en el chat ha llegado Mágico
Para mi Mágico.
el patrocinador
mittlerweile eine
oficial
doch große
de
Familie
este
und
canal.
ich freue mich jedes Mal darauf, sie wiederzusehen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Gamescom 2021 Xbox stream.
Bienvenidos al en vivo de la Gamescom 2021. Tenemos algunos juegos de sus juegos favoritos como
Later
Psychonaut.
on, we'll take an extended look at Forza Horizon 5.
Vamos a darle un vistazo profundo a Forza Horizon. Y que bueno, y van a ver que todos los paisajes que tenemos de México son muy bonitos.
I got $5 on it being one of those electric scooters that you see piled up on the sidewalk.
Will Kate win $5? I guess we're about to find out.
Yes, indeed. Our Xbox Plays team will also chat with devs and deep dive into current and upcoming games all week on twitch.tv/Xbox.
Let's get started with Techland and their
Vamos a
upcoming
empezar.
zombie parkour sequel, Dying Light 2: Stay Human.
¿Eh? Dying Light 2.
Hello, I am Timon Smektawa, Dying Light 2 lead game designer, and this is David Lubryka, animation director. Hi. We can't wait until December 7th to finally give you Dying Light 2 Stay Human, the game we have been working on really hard for the last few years.
We're hoping the gameplay video you're about to watch will give you a foretaste of parkour and combat systems waiting for you in the game.
And we are just about to enter the city, fighting our way through its brutal and dangerous streets. Though, as you will see in a moment, there are plenty of things you can use to your advantage. So watch closely, look for special combat and parkour moves, and check out how with just a bit of creativity you can combine the two. Ready? Let's go!
Sometimes I wonder what this city looked like before all this. Probably like many others. People had their ambitions, plans, lives. Now it's all gone. The virus started it, but it was the people who made the world the way it is. This city, Villador. They tell me they had a vision. They had hope. But soon, one vision broke into many different ones. together, people stood against each other. War broke out.
Was it a little bird with a broken leg?
Hope died. Now the city is falling.
Each time we strike down an enemy, we absorb their strength.
But I can't let that happen. At least, not yet. I need the secrets the city holds.
Fuck! Hey! Still some rats here!
I have to pick a side.
Because I need good people. You're doing great so far.
I have to make a difference.
Let's check and see.
They say that great change is a series of small gestures. How about this series?
No, bueno, Toro, qué pedo, güey.
Is all hope really gone? We'll see about that.
Well, that was an exciting trip, wasn't it, Timo?
Esto ya lo habíamos
Did you
visto
notice
antes.
those bandits in medieval-like armor passing
Llevan
by
años con esa
skyscrapers,
puta misma
banks,
mamada.
and large billboards? That's what we call a modern Dark Ages.
And it's a very unique design, one very important for the plot of Dying Light 2. But there's another thing that stood out to me, all those parkour moves that you and your team has put so much effort into.
Well, all you need is a few thousand of animations, cooperation with professional tracers, mock-up sessions, and invaluable help from David Bell, whose face and moves player will see in the game, by the way.
No, yes, right. And we've got twice the number of parkour moves compared to the first game, and we are showing some of them in this trailer. The vault kicks being the most important to me personally. It brings a whole new fighting style into the game. The player can stagger an enemy and use them to perform further attacks, for example by rebounding from their bodies, jumping off them onto other foes, and so on.
I think we captured the movement really well and made it quite simple for the players to perform. I can't wait for them to try it out and tell for themselves how much they loved it.
It's definitely going to be useful. The city's buildings are higher than anything we have done before, improving its verticality. Players will need to find a way to reach those tall skyscrapers and other challenging spots too.
Then it's good we scattered some helpers around, like a paraglider, which can support players in both parkouring and combat.
Exactly, and it's gonna do great, especially in fights against humans, which are more frequent and important than in Dying Light 1. It's been over 20 years since the events from the first game, so people adjusted. They are much bolder now, at least during the day.
Yo, tus poderes.
And I think that's a great summary of this discussion. Pre-order Dying Light 2 and explore its vast, complex world on December 7th. Thanks, David.
Thank you.
For the first time in the storied history of the franchise, Microsoft Flight Simulator launched on a home console with the release on Xbox Series X and S last month. Reviewers and gamers alike were blown away by how well the stunning visuals and the depth of the simulation translated to the console, and that's why I'm extremely honored to welcome the head of Microsoft Flight Simulator, York Newman, to the stream. York, thank you for being here.
No mames, a mí no me gusta Flight Simulator. ¿A quién de ustedes les gusta esta madre? Quizás que nunca lo he probado, A lo mejor
It
está
went
chido.
great. As you said, the reaction to the Xbox console launch was really just amazing. Both from Xbox gamers and from the press, they've been so gracious with their feedback. I don't know if you know, but Flight Simulator is one of the highest rated games on Xbox this year, which I think is just great validation that the translation of the simulation to the console has really worked well. Our usage numbers are through the roof. We are absolutely shattering
No te
franchise
preocupes,
records.
yo no recupere ese
There
dedo.
have never been more people playing
No
Flight
después.
Simulator than right now. So it's
¿Qué vas a
awesome.
hacer con el dedito?
That is awesome. Congratulations on the launch, really. But
all right.
I want to go to the danger zone. So what's going on with Top Gun?
There's so much going on, Paris. So you and I talked about Top Gun Maverick earlier. The fans are super excited. They saw the FA-18. They can't wait to start flying. And as you know, it comes out later this year as free DLC alongside the movie. But as the movie is still under wraps, so are we. So I can still not tell you that much about it. But there's so much else going on even before Maverick. So we are continuing to do our monthly big releases that we've been doing for a long time. And next month, on September 7th, we are launching World Update 6. And this world update, I mean, at the beginning of the show, if you remember, there was a little red plane flying into Cologne. Well, we did that because World Update 6 updates that region, the region of Gamescom. So Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And what that means to us is we have new aerial and satellite images. We have a new elevation map that helps us with the mountains. So the Alps actually look awesome now. We have new 3D cities like Frankfurt and Wuppertal in Germany. We have Basel in Switzerland. We have Vienna and Graz in Austria, and those cities look just amazing. They have like 7 centimeters resolution, and it's awesome. But we want to celebrate the entire region, so we picked 100 of the most scenic places, the most famous landmarks, and we call those POIs, and we sort of spread them throughout the simulation, and we also added airports. We did Lübeck and Stuttgart in Germany, and Klagenfurt in Austria, and St. Gallen in Switzerland. And what it ties it all together is missions. We're having new discovery flights, we have new landing challenges, and we have new sort of tours of the country. So they fly you around all the awesome looking places and really celebrate the beauty of this region of Earth. And this is a celebration of DACH, of Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. I'm so happy to be able to announce the date here at Gamescom.
You know, that is really incredible, all the different regions and everything that you're going to have in the game, and the way that you're going to be able to actually highlight those.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. But you know, for us, it's actually not just the region and the visuals. We talked a lot when you study aviation, when you love aviation like we do, you actually realize that a lot of regions of Earth have a very special relationship with flying, with aviation. Sometimes it's, you know, the first experiments with aircraft, or a famous pilot, or a feat of aviation, or like a local manufacturer. So we thought to ourselves, why do we not use these world updates to celebrate the planes? So we are announcing a new series. We call them Local Legends. And think about that as planes that are locally well known, like in that region, but outside in the world, not so much. But why not use the world updates to highlight this, to bring these awesome machines to a worldwide audience? So for World Update 6, we picked a German plane from the 1930s. It's called Junkers U-52. In Germany, it's lovingly named Tante U, so Aunt U. And we think of us as sort of a digital preservation. So we really want to get these planes to an extreme level of detail. We're going out of our way to really go deep. So we're doing a full scan. We take full scans of the outside and the inside, as detailed as 1 millimeter, which is as good as you can really do this. And then we're working with, for the Junkers, we worked with Bernd Junkers, who is the grandson of the original creator of the plane, Hugo Junkers. And he's helping us. He had a ton of insight and materials. Then we worked with an organization that is preserving one of the last surviving examples of the Junkers. So they let us scan and take photographs. And then we were lucky that to find a pilot that actually flew one of those planes while it was still flying in the real world. And he lets us know, like, is the cockpit right and the sounds right? Does it feel right in the air? So we're having a blast working with these experts to really to celebrate this plane, to bring them back to life.
So this is almost like you're creating like a digital museum for
Bueno, yo creo que para los que les guste la aviación, yo creo que puede funcionar.
It's a museum with flyable planes. So we're working with 40 museums around the world, and it's honestly one of the funnest parts of the job. You end up working with these curators of planes. These are their babies, and they sort of see the tooth of time in the real world sort of nagging on their remaining planes, and they're so happy when we come in with our scanning equipment, and we're basically capturing their planes, and they know that we can digitally preserve preserve them in perpetuity.
Top de juegos aburridos, golf, aviación, billar, pues sí, ya sé. Va a ser un top de los juegos más aburridos. Para mí. Y para mí los juegos aburridos son box, básquetbol, fútbol americano, hockey sobre hielo,
air taxi for urban traffic.
Y billar.
So they have a vision of the future, how these drone
Porque este nunca lo he jugado, no puedo decir que es aburrido.
We're working directly with the engineering team to make sure that we are capturing their plane and their aircraft perfectly in the flight simulator, and that's coming out in November.
I mean, you weren't kidding when you're saying that there's a lot going on inside of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Is there anything else you want to share?
Yeah, there's one more thing. I'm so happy to announce that we've partnered with RARA. That's the Reno Air Racing Association. And they
Ay, Master Danzo, a veces eres bien, quién sabe cómo.
National Championship Air Race. And we're bringing this to Flight Simulator. So this is the fastest motorsport. This is right down your alley. It's the fastest motorsport on Earth. And I actually brought you a little trailer to look at.
So race, speed. We go into the danger zone, baby. Let's go ahead and show that.
Pero abúrranos. No mames, eso fue todo. Todo el día uno en PC y consola.
You know I like going fast, and you know I love being in the danger zone. When is this coming out?
Man, these planes, they fly 500 miles, faster than 500 miles an hour, 50 to 250 feet above the ground. So you are definitely going to be in the danger zone. I mean, without going into too much detail, this Reno Air Race is actually the largest expansion we have since we launched on Flight Simulator. It's not just because we scanned all the famous race planes of the world. There's lots of them. This is also the first time when you can basically race against your friends and pilots across the planet. And so a competitive multiplayer is coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator, and that will definitely test your pilot skills. And you ask, when is it coming out? This is coming out this fall, so it's right around the corner.
Oh, that is fantastic. And you know I have the need for speed, so I can't wait to get my hands on this and participate in some of these air races.
Awesome, man. We got you covered.
All right, thank you. If going fast on the ground is more your speed, keep an eye out for an extended look at Forza Horizon 5 later on in the stream. We'll also talk with Wasteland 3's game director about the game's next big DLC. But first, if you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, we have some great news for you.
¿Nani? Archirrival. perro, güey,
Yep, somehow they did it. They added even more games to Game Pass. But let's talk about what's coming up. We're talking Age of Empires 4, the game's creative director, and we're going to see what's next for Sea of Thieves. But now, we've got a new roguelike retro shooter that, in grand retro fashion, sends you plundering through shifting dungeons to defeat a mysterious eldritch terror. Let's dive into the pit.
Órale.
Well, I am here with creative director of World's
No
End,
mames,
Adam
con era de
Eisgren. Adam,
Imperios.
I'm so excited to talk Age 4, of course, because you've brought something a little different and very special today.
Qué juego tan aburrido.
So far, we've been showing everyone kind of what Age looks like from in the game. You know, when you're playing it, you've gotten to see a lot of footage of that, and we've also shown a little bit of our campaigns, right? Through when we unveiled the 100 Years' War and showed Joan of Arc. But we have yet another way in Age of Empires 4 that we're kind of bringing history to life that we haven't talked about yet.
See, you do this to me. You put me in suspense. I want to know more, so let's go with it.
Well,
let's hear more.
Okay, wait, you get one moment of suspense. Okay, that's enough. So, what we brought today is we have these wonderful little videos that we've created.
Qué guapa está la
They're
host, me gusta.
They're about 3 to 5 minutes each. And we have over an hour of them total, and they're called Hands-On Histories. And what they are is a great way to like deep dive on certain fun subjects from the cultures we're representing and just from
Qué corte tan bonito tiene,
Well, I hear you've
me
actually brought one of
encanta.
those segments that you're going to share here for the very first time.
Yes, I have. We are going to show you the segment on one of the most popular
Así me lo voy a
movies
cortar
from
yo.
Age of
Oye,
Empires
ya estoy
franchise
pelón.
and a fan favorite, the Trebuchet.
Excellent. Well, this I got to see. Let's take a look.
Let's take a look.
A counterweight trebuchet was the king of all siege engines. A catapult capable of smashing down castle walls from great distances. At Warwick Castle in England, they've built a replica, one of the largest in the world. Originating in 7th century China, by the 13th century, trebuchets had evolved into devastatingly powerful weapons.
Such a simple design, but so effective.
It has several key features. A pivoted arm with a weight at one end, and a sling to hold the projectile at the other. To prime, the 6-ton weight is raised using tread wheels.
So this is one of the wheels, one of 2 that's attached to an axle, which would lift the counterweight, weighing 6 tons. It's based on muscle power alone. What's essential about launching a projectile as far as possible is making sure that this end of the arm is moving as fast as possible. So once that weight drops, it really sends this point of the arm moving at its highest velocity.
This was done by positioning the pivot close to the counterweight and by launching the projectile from a sling. When released, the sling whips round, vastly increasing the launch speed. Trebuchets were carefully aimed, like modern guns.
In order to weaken the castle walls or even breach them, you had to make sure that the projectiles hit the same spot every single time.
For each projectile to follow the same trajectory, they all had to be the same weight and shape. To achieve this, Masons used a gauge.
Now I'm going to load this projectile into the sling. Oh, this one must weigh about 25 kilograms, but some projectiles
Hola,
can get up
Pinches
to
Campers.
150
Ha llegado Darky al
kilograms.
stream.
That's the
Darky,
weight of
bienvenido.
2 men.
Disfruta el stream. ¿Y dónde la van a aventar, güey?
To throw burning tar, beehives, even dead bodies. Anything to cause maximum distress to the enemy.
Did you hear that whoosh?
It was the counterweight trebuchet's lethal combination of power and accuracy that made it the ultimate medieval siege weapon.
No mames, güey. Imagínate que estés desayunando en tu casa y de repente te caiga un pinche bolón ahí. ¡Fue su puta madre, güey! Esta pinche bolota, qué
You know I'm gonna say trebuchet. Yay! Don't care, because that is awesome and remarkably unique, something you don't see in games very often.
Yeah, so, you know, one of the things when we were looking at what we were going to do with Age of Empires 4, there's a phrase I'm really fond of, which
O sea, están presentando un juego y pusieron una puta... ¿cómo se llaman? Catapulta de güey, qué pedo.
And there's a phrase called humanized history that I use to kind of describe what we tried to do, which is we tried to like connect past and present. And you can see that kind of in our briefings as well, where we've got like real stuff with like CG kind of overlaid to show you
Se viene
history.
Gear 7, nene.
And
Se
so
viene
for
Gear 7.
these, we really wanted to do that same thing. So ourselves and Relic partnered with this amazing group in the UK called Lion TV, and they've done production on an amazing amount of shows and documentaries for the BBC and won every award you can imagine for media. And they travel to all of these locations in all these different countries to meet with these subject matter experts and get all of this great footage on how things really worked and how things were made. And it's been delightful to kind of go through that process and, you know, get all these and finally start showing them to everyone.
Oh, I love it. Now, you also, of course, you've got a bunch, as you mentioned, of these hands-on history segments. Anything else that you can tell us fans about what we can expect, looking forward to? Any favorites you got coming up?
Oh, well, favorites. Oh, man. Well, I think my personal favorite is one called Medieval Surgery. Oh. And I'm going to let your imagination go with what we might show and what we might talk about in that one.
Yeah.
But the thing I love about them is that they go all over the place. So, you know, we've got ones on warfare and castle building and, like, how they kept flaming arrows from not going out when she shot them. And but we've also got all of these ones on, you know, like, illuminated history and falconing and, you know, like horse taming, armor creation, and there's even one on Mongolian instrumentation, which is really cool because those instruments, we actually use them in the soundtrack for the Mongols when you're playing as them in the campaign, in the game.
I mean, yeah. I just love the behemoth amount of history that you guys... Age of Empires, always known for bringing history alive in a completely different way. And I also love to mention this to people, that you and the team do so much research.
Qué entretenida está esta madre, güey.
To see this approach being used in a hands-on history kind of segment. But, I mean, what was that approach like to sort of, you know, sell going forward, especially since it's such a unique in-game experience?
Well, the cool thing was it was there from day one. It was one of the things I was really wanted to do, is try to tell these stories in a different way. But I'll tell you, like, full disclosure, it's been insanely nerve-wracking because we're trying something completely different that no one's ever done before in a game, right? We're history, but we're a game, but we're teaching you things, but you're having fun. And finding that middle ground has been really challenging. And, you know, every time we've tried to show, we've shown the campaigns or we've shown these hands-on histories, I've been like, oh God, is it gonna work? Like, people are going to like this. And the great thing is so far, everyone that's really experienced the entire thing put together have just been like, wow, this is great. And it's so different and kind of cool and refreshing. So, so far so good, right? But yeah, it's been a journey, you know, to get all this done and put the whole game together.
Well, I love that you mentioned Journey because we are coming towards the end of this development journey for
Puta, sí, parece que estoy en clase de historia. Tienes toda la razón,
con Chile. About Age of Empires 4. I know they're all chomping at the bit.
Oh, well, you know,
Digo, sí dejaba que esa maestra de historia me diera clase, güey, sin pedo.
You can go to ageofempires.com to learn more about
Digo, obviamente, como que resulta muy bonita, pues porque güerita fue azul. Son características que son inevitables para la vista de cualquier género, ¿no? Hombre, mujer, o sea. Las mujeres ven un güerito ojo azul, rubio, y pues, güey, se les hace. Y nosotros igual, vemos una güerita así, rubia. Bueno, no rubia, pero ojo azul, y pues también es cosa normal. Y yo creo que ese también es el principal objetivo del marketing, porque yo también luego un día conocí a mucha gente de Xbox, güey. Y todos son güeritos, ojo claro, güey. O sea, no hay ningún morenito así, negrito, apiñonado como un servidor, güey. O sea, ves a puro güerito, güey. No sé qué criterios se tengan en Xbox México para contratar, pero hay puro güey así, o sea, güerito. No hay casi morenitos, vaya.
That's right, Kate. Xbox Cloud Gaming.
Bueno, dije México. Ese güey es un claro ejemplo de que está en Estados Unidos.
And now it's coming to Xbox consoles. The future with cloud gaming sounds bright. No waiting to install, no running out of hard drive space, no waiting to patch, and no buying a new console just to play with your friends. See how the vision of cloud gaming will bring people together without barriers.
So when I think about cloud and when I think about gaming, those two things together to me really show you the future where you can pick up something and you could play it anywhere and you could do it quickly.
Por eso no me contratan, pues no mames. Un brothers.
Cloud gaming is phenomenal. That's pretty great. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
This actually looks so good.
Ese brother se parece a mí cuando se va la luz.
Large and you want to keep the ones that you know you love on your hard drive. Xbox Cloud Gaming is about being able to discover the new ones right away. It's super exciting that for our Game Pass Ultimate members, they will get to experience Xbox Cloud Gaming on whatever console they have.
Cloud gaming is really about looking at how people play differently. I know me in particular, sometimes I just have 20 minutes.
It should be as easy as finding the game that you look for on your console and just jumping right in.
We're targeting 1080p at 60 frames per second.
What's crazy about this is like the latency. This is the kind of stuff you need with cloud gaming.
Oh, 60 frames? That's actually very smooth.
The process itself to get
Eso
into cloud gaming
va a pasar
feels like
igual
you're playing
que
a console, right? You go, you find
igual
the
que
game
el
you want,
último
you press
servicio de
play.
Google, ¿no?
It's so easy nowadays. You can pick up any device and pretty much play any Xbox game on Game Pass.
Igual que Stadia, va a quedar igual que Stadia, esta puta mamada en la puta mierda, güey. O sea, el juego en la nube no se han dado cuenta que no va a pasar, güey. No.
Everything that Xbox is doing right now is just getting rid of the limits of having to be on a specific platform or a specific console. Play on PC and mobile, and now on Gen 8.
Yeah, Gen 8 consoles can play Gen 9 content. Isn't that so cool?
With cloud gaming, we have the ability, because you are connecting to consoles that are in our data centers, to allow the Gen 8 customers, the Xbox One customers, to play games that their hardware wouldn't have been able to play without it.
There's so much opportunity when it comes to thinking about how we can make content more readily available and let people play where they want to. Sign me up. I'm ready for cloud gaming right now. Let's do it. When's the release date? When does it release?
Really, brother?
August 9th saw the release of the free optimized update for Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice on the Xbox Series S and X. With beautiful and rich visuals, thanks to the addition of ray tracing and improved materials alongside performance updates, this is the perfect opportunity to relive Senua's journey or experience it for the first time. And if you haven't played this, do yourself a favor. Grab a pair of headphones and immerse yourself into this world.
No lo he jugado, me dan ganas de jugarlo. Todavía en una noche, un viernes de terror, como ven.
We'll be taking a look at some ID at Xbox titles over the next few days, including 12 Minutes and The Big Con.
They're also talking with developers from Halo, the Master Chief Collection, Forza Horizon 5, and Destiny 2. So join the live Q&A to get your burning questions answered. You can catch all of those streams on twitch.tv/Xbox.
Speaking of Forza Horizon 5, don't forget our friends at Playground Games will give us an extended look at their monument to motoring in Mexico later on.
That includes never-before-seen areas of the game map, plus cars that have never been in the Forza franchise before. I've loved everything I've seen of Forza Horizon 5 so far, and I can't wait. Now, Kate, there's more games to check out, right?
Well, right you are, Paris. Let's talk Wasteland 3. Their newest DLC introduces us to a new cult. The Cult of the Holy Detonation.
Holy detonation is life. Deep within Cheyenne Mountain, we've changed. Devolved into the mutations you see before you. Set on a righteous path. The holy detonation's life-giving glow should be shared with everyone. May the light of the holy detonation purify you. Join us, Rangers.
Este juego nunca le he probado Wastelands.
With new patches, bug fixes, and added features, like a fine wine, Wasteland 3 just gets better with age. To really savor the game's bouquet, we're talking with inXile game director David Rogers. David, thank you for joining us.
I'm super stoked to be here. Thanks.
So in the trailer, we saw that the DLC is coming out on October 5th, but we know, inXile Wasteland 3, you guys have been working on this for a very long time. So can you kind of talk about that journey?
Yeah, our dev team has been working nonstop, full tilt, trying to make Wasteland 3 the best version of itself it could be. Over the past year since it's released, we've added features, we've balanced, we've listened to the community, we've fixed bugs, added stability, and I really think that the version that we have now is the absolute best version of the game, and if you've never played it before, now's an awesome time to jump in.
Well, congratulations on everything that you've been doing with Wasteland 3. Now, this DLC is called The Cult of the Holy Detonation. Now, talk about that a little bit. Tell me what's going to go into this DLC. What should we be excited about?
Right. So you've heard of Cheyenne Mountain, right?
Yes.
For those who haven't, Cheyenne Mountain is this top secret military complex buried deep in the heart of Cheyenne Mountain in the middle of Colorado. It's designed to outlast a nuclear winter. And so when you hit level 16, an old friend calls you and says, hey, I need your help securing this secret military base and all the secrets within. And as soon as you get there, you find two warring cults battling over supremacy, trying to take control of the Holy Detonation, which is this pre-war science experiment that they worship as a god. And, these cultists are insane, they're mutated, they've gone totally mad, and all they want to do is share the holy radiation with you and your entire ranger team. How generous.
Yeah, that sounds a lot cooler than some of the cults I may have joined in the past, but this is typical Wasteland fashion. We're really going to be able to get in there and mix it up, right?
Right. So you and your ranger team insert yourself right smack dab in the middle of their holy war, which, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
And this is a Wasteland game, so you decide everything. Choice and consequence is our bread and butter. And so you decide who lives, who dies, who gets screwed over, who takes charge. You're deciding the fate of the cults, the Holy Detonation, Cheyenne Mountain, and ultimately all of Colorado. This is really your game to craft and mold.
That's awesome. So the last expansion was the Battle of Steeltown, right? Yeah. You had giant robots and things like that. So, what are you going to do to actually top something like that from the last expansion?
Right. So we wanted returning players to find something that they could never find in another version or in previous versions of Wasteland 3. And so we built this as a Wasteland-style dungeon crawl. And in there you find this awesome mix of mystery, exploration. You're meeting these crazy cultists who have been locked in this pre-war time capsule, and some of the raddest boss battles we have ever been able to build in a Wasteland game.
That's awesome. I want to get back to the crazy cultists, but talk to me about these big boss battles. I want to hear more about that.
Right. So we took the best parts of Wasteland combat and we breathed new life into it with objective-based combat, which are basically super rad boss battles. It's no longer you're huddling in a corner, throwing down turrets, just going on murderous rampages. It's not about killing, it's about getting the job done. And so now combat doesn't end until the mission is over. We send you on proper combat missions. You're in there breaking into prisons, rescuing POWs. You're disrupting these high-tech cultist rituals. You are splitting your fire team and coordinating like you never have had to before. Like, everyone on your team has a job, and I really think this is going to take old players who know their Ranger team like the back of their hands, and it's going to make them scratch their head and really have to rethink how they go about combat and making it new, exciting, and challenging in a, like, mentally in a way we haven't been able to really do before with just straight up murder combat.
Now, Wasteland has a reputation for
Kombat.
What are some of the weird characters we can expect in some of the story encounters we'll see in the game?
Yeah, with Cult of the Holy Detonation, we really got to cut our devs loose and just let them be creative and fun and silly. Like, N-Exile's modus operandi is if we're like brainstorming and something makes us laugh, we just put it in the game. That's just how we do it, and we pick up the pieces afterwards. Because we want to make something that entertains us, and then we know if we're having fun, our fans are going to have fun along with us. And so we got to explore, like, really letting you get deep into this like weird radiation cult, and let you interact with them and talk with them, and tell stories and like maybe even join them.
I'm singing late night in the windowsill. If the lightning don't get you, then the Thundercats will. Didn't break that face, now you gotta be kidding me. Getting my human stew, do my bidding. See, I got perfection running through my blood.
Hey guys, you should like come in here and like soak up some of these rads. It'll be great.
And he Sherpas you in and lets you meet the whole cult. And another one of my favorites is the Proteus. He's what you get if you took like 20 cultists and you like melted them into a big pile. Kind of like I would do this with like a magnifying glass. I would like melt like army guys and like GI Joes into a big pile. And he's wet and sloppy and gross and he's hard to understand and he needs a translator supposedly. But he's like your #1 fan. And getting to build like this totally out there wild extreme character was a ton of fun to write for. It's a ton of fun to like explore like what makes this cult tick, and he's an absolute blast. Hell, even some of the weapons that you find in Cheyenne Mountain, they're
Ánimo, Emanuel, todo va a salir
there's
bien.
one guy, and he kind of devolved into this like vomiting bagpipe creature, and he has this real like kill me vibe about him. But we get to play with these fun body horror themes that let us jackknife between sort of like dark and serious and like goofy and funny, which is a line that Wasteland really loves to ride. Like, you know, a lot of really important stuff is at stake, but, you know, the Wasteland's a pretty bizarre place.
Oh, I can imagine. Now, we talked before, you've been working on Wasteland 3 for a while. There's already expansions that are out there. But say I'm a new player. Say I'm watching this right now, and I'm like, man, I want to get into Wasteland 3. What would you suggest for new players wanting to get into this?
And like I said at the top, like Wasteland is like the best version of itself right now because of all the work we put into it over the past year. And so you can get the whole thing with the Colorado collection. That's the base game plus Cult of the Holy Detonation and Battle of Steeltown, all for a discount. Or if you have Game Pass, you already have Wasteland 3. Just download it and play it. And then you can get both expansions with the expansion pass.
That is awesome. Now, to kind of recap this a little bit, we've talked about, you know, spewing pus bags and these weird characters and the cults and the boss battles and all these really cool things that are going to be in Wasteland 3. But please remind everyone before we get out of here, when can you pick up this DLC?
Right, this Work of Passion, it comes out on October 5th. And we're really stoked.
That is awesome. So this is the
It's awesome, baby. Yeah, awesome. Awesome.
Coming October 5th. David, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Barish. Appreciate it.
All right. In the 3 years since its launch, Sea of Thieves has played host to some incredible crossovers, including unique ship sets inspired by games like Battletoads, State of Decay, Halo, and more. Today, we're excited to announce a brand new special event that will award players an all-new ship as a part of the latest wild crossover heading to Sea of Thieves. Better yet, this event begins tomorrow,
Sea of Thieves otra
so
vez,
get
güey.
ready to make some
puta
mayhem,
flojera,
and let's
güey.
get our first look
2
at this
putos
very
años
special
con
ship.
Sea of Thieves.
Guten Tag, everyone. Really cool to be a part of this all-digital Gamescom event. And we were thinking, what's the best way to kind of celebrate Gamescom and to be a part of this as Sea of Thieves? And so we're really excited to reveal that we're bringing the Mayhem ship set that you've just seen, a really, really cool ship that's inspired by Borderlands, into Sea of Thieves, and we're giving all of our players a chance to earn it during kind of the Gamescom time period. So it's been really cool to work with the Borderlands team to bring this ship to life, and giving all of our players the chance to earn it as part of this live event that we've cunningly titled Mayhem. You might notice the link. So you can probably guess the kind of activities that are involved, but if you head to Lorena at any of the outposts in the Sea of Thieves world, she'll be able to fill you in on the details of what you need to go do to earn the ship set. So we hope everybody gets a chance to take part in this awesome time-limited event. So it starts today, and it runs through to September the 7th. So that's the time period you've got to get your hands on the Mayhem ship set. And I think that's it from me. So, as always, I will see you on the seas.
Está aburrido que una pinche clase por Zoom, cabrón. Y ahora a ver qué pasa.
Hope. It's always been a dangerous world in Trumbull Valley. But now, it's hope that brings us back together. It reunites old friends. It builds new bonds. And in the face of a growing threat,
Dame otra vez State of Decay, güey. Ya, güey.
the greatest weapon we have.
Ya, güey, por favor, ya, no mames. Puro puto juego repetido de hace 2 años.
Like zombies themselves, it seems everything old is new again in State of Decay 2. And we have a guest to walk us through this Undead update. Please join me in welcoming Undead Labs Director of Communications, Wanda Russell. Hello, Wanda, how are you?
Hello, I'm great. It's great to be here, talk about the Homecoming update releasing on September 1st. We are very excited to get this into players' hands.
You are indeed. So let's talk about the Homecoming update. Obviously, we are coming back to Trumbull Valley. We were there for Heartland, the update, back in 2019. Talk to me about the differences, and I'll sit right here and listen, because you're adorable.
So Heartland is the story mode within the game, but it's a very linear, narrative-driven experience. You know, players couldn't move their communities there. So that's all changed with the Trumbull Valley map. It is the 5th core open-world map. It's fully remastered, and it expands into 2 territories that were completely inaccessible in Heartland. So players can return to Trumbull Valley with their communities, start new communities there, and really start exploring everything that the new map has to offer.
So then, would Homecoming be a sequel then to Heartland?
Yeah, exactly right. So the events in Heartland kind of play out. You see what happens in Trumbull Valley. So we think of it as the 3rd part of our Trumbull saga that began with the original State of Decay game, continued into Heartland, and now we see what has happened since then and what storylines might be coming to a close.
Sí, lo único
so
bonito
there
del,
is a lot for players to discover,
del Gamescom
a lot
fue
of
la
environmental
host.
storytelling to find. And, you know, things have changed. So this isn't the Trumbull Valley that players might remember. So that's going to be exciting.
Interesting. Well, and anytime you expand something like Trumbull Valley, you just have to have a juggernaut of content, pun intended. Talk to me a little bit about what some of those things are that players can get in on here now in the expanded Trumbull Valley.
Yes, a ton of new content. In fact, we're doing something unique with the Trumbull Valley map. There are items there that you can only find on that map and nowhere else in the game, including 12 new hats and outfits, 10 new very cool weapons. We've got 6 new bases, 2 new achievements for achievement hunters. And on top of that, we are adding the game's 12th bounty pack. So that will be available from the bounty broker across all maps. And I have to say, they are some of the coolest weapons I have ever seen go into the game. I'm so excited for people to find them.
A juggernaut amount of content, and I don't care who sees that second pun of the day. That works out great. Well, let's talk about the State of Decay community, because it's absolutely an integral part to this entire franchise. And State of Decay being on Xbox Game Pass, how has that impacted the community? How has that impacted the game? Talk to me about those.
It's been fantastic. And, you know, we have an amazing community. We love them so much. In fact, one of the reasons we're doing Trumbull Valley as a map is because it was one of the most requested features from the community, which also makes it very exciting for us to be able to say, we did it, you get it. And we have a major milestone that we're celebrating. State of Decay 2 has 10 million lifetime players.
10 million lifetime hang your hat on that. I absolutely love that. That
Really grateful.
Incredible, amazing news.
10 millones de gente jugando esa madre. ¿Y por qué nosotros no lo estamos jugando? ¿Y por qué no es tendencia en Twitch? ¿Y por qué no es tendencia en todos lados, güey?
So the update releases
Con 10
September
millones de
1st.
personas
It's a free
jugándolo.
update for all State of Decay 2 owners, and it's included with Xbox Game Pass. Happy homecoming.
I love it. Thank you, Wonder, very much.
My pleasure.
Now we move from Trumbull Valley to the Lost Valley of Akria. This mystical location trades zombies for ancient warrior clans, forgotten temples of long-dead god kings, and a healthy dose of happy laughter. All the way to Stray.
Se ve bueno, ¿eh?
In Strayblade, you discover the mystical lost valley of Akria, a world which ranges from overgrown temple ruins to frozen caves and winding canyons. A game world that changes based on your victories and plenty of dudes to stab in blade-to-blade combat. If that weren't enough, you even get a fuzzy little pal to help you out. Between the epic fights and this small guy, there's clearly a lot going on here. So let's hear more from Point Blank Games about Strayblade.
Hello everybody, I'm Leonard Couch, Game Director at Point Blank Games, and today I will show you Strayblade. Strayblade is an action RPG where you play a rogue adventurer who is exploring the ancient valley of Akria with his companion, a witty wolf named Boji. Unveil the history of the Forgotten Valley, master the powers of the 3 Akrian metals to restore balance to this war-torn land.
That is the how, as well as the why.
Combat and exploration are the 2 key elements of our game. Let's dive into the combat first. Our combat system merges strategic anticipation of enemy attacks with split-second blade-to-blade reactions. It is the high noon of skill-based melee weapon combat. To achieve that, we put our hearts into creating fluid, well-readable animations and epic cinematic finishes.
Me gusta,
you can choose from multiple weapon categories that can be combined to fit your playstyle. Now, let's take a look at the exploration. Akria's colorful world ranges from overgrown city ruins to frozen caves and winding canyons. Together with your companion, explore the deepest corners of an ever-changing world, bristling with adventure. Every discovery holds treasure. Find rare materials, recipes, weapons, lore pieces, and beautiful places. Change is part of your journey, where every victory impacts the world around you. When you die, time keeps moving forward. Enemies can't stay dead. New foes invade camps that you weakened. And when Boji revives you, only one thing is certain. The change you brought shapes what now awaits you. And of course, get ready for epic boss fights. We hope you enjoyed the first look at Strayblade, which will be out next year. And keep an eye on our social media channels for more information.
Muy bueno, sí, sí, sí.
Next up,
Ay no, güey, qué hueva, güey, con estos juegos.
Yeah, unique. As in, my evil twin murdered 4 of my husbands because they secretly are in love with me. Unique.
In case that didn't tip you off, we're talking about Crusader Kings 3, the medieval grand strategy and role-playing game that has you trying to defend your royal line from those that would conquer your kingdom, and evil twins apparently.
Yeah. It's coming to Xbox as an adaptation, not a direct port, meaning that the UI and controls have been refined to bring that grand strategy experience to a controller.
Not to mention bringing the grand strategy experience to my comfy living room couch.
We'll all be ruling from our throne room soon enough. Check out Crusader Kings 3, now coming to Xbox consoles.
My son, we must never forget the crimes committed against us. Your father sought his glorious revenge and failed. He never understood that the greatest wars are won with weddings, not warriors. With daggers, not swords. Only the small-minded measure success across the span of a single life. The real game is played across generations. You see, real strategy requires cunning.
Siempre he dicho que el arma más poderosa contra alguien es una mujer. Las mujeres son tremendas, pero las amamos hoy chiquititas.
Crusader Kings 3 is wild. You really haven't lived until you've made an 8-year-old the king of
Esto es
England.
puritita mierda.
We've all gotten into some weird stuff this past year.
Weird like diving into people's brains and exploring their mental universes projected into a psychedelic 60s wonderland kind of weird?
Exactly that kind of weird, which means I am so excited for Psychonauts to finally get a sequel. It has been so long.
There really is something special about Psychonauts, isn't it?
There really is indeed. Now, think about this. 2005, when Psychonauts originally came out, was a different time for gaming. Most of the biggest games that year, we're talking Resident Evil 4, Battlefield 2, Call of Duty 2. They were great games, for sure. But they were all big, beefy shooter games.
Meanwhile, Psychonauts had humor, whimsy, and surprisingly heartfelt moments. It was an oasis of color and humanity in an era when games were increasingly turning grimy, dark, and combative.
Not to mention having some deceptively deep character moments.
That's why the original is considered a cult classic.
It has been a long time coming, and it is finally here. Enjoy this long-awaited launch trailer for Psychonauts.
Vamos a ver.
Well, this shouldn't take too long. My name is Raz, and I'm the new intern. And today is my first day on the job.
Get ready, Rasputin.
Did you forget everything I taught you about levitation, Rasputin?
I'm not supposed to check out equipment to interns.
You did what? Can't we just...
No. Quit picking on the new kid. We were all new once, in case you forgot.
I've got eyes on the target. And I've got eyes on me. All I see is another unruly peasant. Oh boy.
It wouldn't be the first time the Psychonauts underestimated Maligula's power.
Fire! Leave it to me.
Se ve interesante, pero así que digas, wey, puta.
Well, it's clear I could not be more excited for Psychonauts 2 because I gotta be honest, me and that original game, we got some beef that needs settling. If you know, you know. The meat circus level, it is infamous, it is brutal, it is difficult to say the least. It's the final level of the original game that came out, and I cannot believe I'm doing the math on this one. 16 years ago, Tim Schafer and Lizette T-Tree Montgomery. I am definitely dating myself, but you all welcome from Double Fine Productions. Thank you so much for being here. Tim, can you believe it has been 16 years? I almost said 19 years.
Yeah, it feels like only yesterday, but it kind of was for Raz because the story picks up right where the first game left off. And even though it has been a lot of years, it's a game that matters a lot to us. We really love it here at Double Fine, and we know that a lot of fans, it meant a lot to them. And so we really want to be true to the spirit of the first game, which we were able to do because we brought back a lot of the same voice actors, and we also have a lot of people on the team here that worked on the first game, as well as bringing on a bunch of new people like Lisette.
Thank you. It was really important for us to carry the legacy forward, especially the cool style of Wonk that is very prevalent in the first game.
Style of Wonk. Just put it on a shirt. I'm in there for it. Let's roll it back a bit. Of course, this can be kind of a trippy idea if you're not familiar. Psychonauts, they still jump into people's minds, I'm assuming, like the first game, right? So if a Psychonaut sort of dove into my brain, it would be like a lot of Ted Lasso quotes and French Bulldog memes. Am I correct, Tim?
Yeah, that's what's fun about a Psychonauts game is that all the levels are different, just like every person is different, based on their personality. If you could jump into someone's mind, what would it look like in there? What would be the color of the sky, and like who would the monsters be? And in Psychonauts, you get to do that because Raz has the power of astral projection. And when he goes in, he gets to fight those monsters and help people deal with their nightmares and wrestle with their inner demons. And so there's a ton of variety, and there's a lot of anything goes. We can go to any location, we can have any art style, and coming up with new levels.
No se ve mal, se ve muy colorido.
Really fun to
Eso se me hace como que muy Sunset Overdrive.
Let's talk a little bit about how that kind of concept expresses itself in the game world. I mean, Psychonauts 2 has got it all over the place, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was really important for us to carry forward the unique brain worlds and unique levels from the first game and the unique style as well. So we really focused on how we could bring forward that style in Wonk and also bring in new levels and enemies.
Now, of course, it wouldn't be Psychonauts without new mental demons, and I'm sure it's happening in Psychonauts 2. What does this mean? Does it mean basically is that we're finally able to slap COVID anxiety in the face?
Well, I don't know if you get to slap anxiety in your face, but you definitely get to slap some panic attacks, and COVID definitely caused a lot of those. In addition to panic attacks, some of our old enemies have also come back. Our sensors are our favorites, and they're definitely here. And in addition to that, we also have our doubts. And some new enemies. There's our lovely sensor. Also, some regrets, some flying regrets. There are a ranged enemy, and they definitely are challenging. Our doubts are our slow, sticky melee enemy. You're also seeing our enabler here. He energizes our whole combat troop. So we have a whole cast that you can battle and fight with.
Including the new bad mood.
Including the bad mood.
Which is
an electric storm of feelings that you have to fight.
Now, for those who haven't played the original, available now on Xbox Game Pass, by the way, wink. Tim, why is Raz so good at rummaging through brains?
Raz he has some very special skills. He has two whole sets of skills, one being the acrobatic skills he learned growing up in a circus. He can balance on tightropes, jump on trampolines, swing on trapezes, and that helps him navigate and get around to all kinds of interesting places. But he also has this other side to his personality, which is that he's a powerful psychic. So he can levitate objects, he can use telekinesis and pyrokinesis. He has these powers which people might recognize from the first game, as well as 3 new powers for the second game. He has the ability to mentally connect thoughts together, and he can connect 2 thoughts and actually connect 2 thoughts together to solve puzzles and to navigate in this game. He has the power of time bubble, which is just change and slow down how things are moving by changing people's perception of time. And he also has the power of projection, which allows him to pull an archetype, a personality, out of his unconscious mind and bring it into the world that he's in, like a companion in battle or in puzzle solving.
Let's talk about the story for a second, because as the original Psychonauts, we saw Raz training to be part of an organization, and now perhaps he's part of a whole organization at this point. And are there other brain agents, other Psychonauts out there that maybe grew up in a completely different circus?
Yeah, we have a lot of new characters in this game.
We do. We have a lot of new characters in this game. As soon as Raz arrives on the headquarters, he immediately gets introduced to the interns. And the interns quickly tell him and show him how he fits into the organization.
The bottom.
They're right down at the bottom.
Yeah, so earn his way back to the top again. He's no longer the coolest kid in summer camp. And much to his chagrin, his entire family, his entire embarrassing circus clothes wearing family comes to visit him in front of all his new friends. And so
La abuelita
the interns find out that he's the awkward middle child of a circus family. Each one of them has their own quirks and foibles, and some of them are even psychic. And so a lot of their story gets told in this game, including their backstory and how it relates to the foundation of the Psychonauts themselves.
Well, I like that. And of course, as you might know already, I'm sold. But you, of course, already knew that. When can myself and the rest of the world exact some beefy, meaty revenge?
You can get back to the beef and play Psychonauts 2 on August 25th on Xbox Game Pass and PC.
There it is. Lizette, Tim from Double Fine, thank you so much. And you know what? Extend a huge congratulations to everyone at Double Fine on the launch of Psychonauts 2.
Thank you so much. We're very excited.
Thank you.
And you can catch more of Tim Schafer and ask him those burning questions about the newest game in the fan-favorite franchise in our Xbox Plays stream tomorrow. But first, we're going from cleaning out mental cobwebs to cleaning up alien planets in this supremely satisfying 4K 60 trailer for The Gunk.
I don't like this weather. I'm pretty sure the ship's insurance won't cover alien storm damage. You have to be careful out there.
The gunks eat everything here. This planet is literally a paradise when the gunk's gone.
No mames, ¿qué clase de Mario Sunshine es esta?
Max. Oh, please, Max.
¿Qué clase de Mario Sunshine es esto, güey? Esto es un robo.
We have talked about
Clase
so
de
many incredible games
The
today.
Gunk
It's hard to
y
pick a favorite.
Psychonauts.
But let me just say, it is so cool that State of Decay 2 is expanding Trumbull Valley. Come on. And hey, you know what? Great job on that Flight Sim interview.
Oh, thank you. I mean, talking to Jorg is always a blast, and Flight Sim is such a special game to me because, I mean, it's literally letting me travel the world. But I was staring daggers of jealousy watching you talk to Tim and Lizette over at Double Fine.
Well, I will say this. I understand, but you got to play Psychonauts 2 already, so I don't even want to hear it.
That's true. But it's not the same as talking to the creators. Just trust me when I tell you. Be excited for Psychonauts 2.
I will say this as well. I am excited to see even more of Psychonauts 2 on our Xbox Plays streams.
Yes, don't forget, Xbox Plays will recap all the week's news throughout the week at twitch.tv/Xbox. So make sure to check that out. Before Kate and I let Playground Games take the wheel, let me just say that it has been our distinct pleasure to chat games and nerd out with everyone today.
Oh, it's hands down the best part of the job, for sure.
But we're far from done here.
Too true. Now, in June, Playground Games announced that Forza Horizon 5, the highly anticipated follow-up to 2018's breakout hit open-world driving game Forza Horizon 4, arrives on November 9th on Xbox consoles, Xbox Game Pass for console, PC, and cloud, and of course, Steam.
And if you're watching our Xbox YouTube channel, switch over to our Xbox Twitch channel to see all this new exclusive content.
And that is twitch.tv/Xbox for the full vroom vroom experience. And if you're already watching on Twitch or one of the Forza channels, stay right where you are.
Without further ado, let's dive in, starting with the new custom Forza Horizon 5 controller, which is available for pre-order today, so players can have it in hand by November 9th when the standard edition of the game launches.
A ver. Ojo, está bonito, Está bonito, güey. Está chingón, güey. Me gusta, güey. Está bonito el control, la verdad. No quiero. No quiero. Qué bonito control, gente. Creo que es lo mejor de la puta Gamescom, No mames, güey. No, qué bonito control, Preordénalo.
Charlie here, and I'm at Playground Games with Forza Horizon creative director Mike Brown and Forza Horizon art director Don Arcetta. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
Hello.
How cool is this?
That is stunning. Look at that.
No
we
mames,
obviously
mira
just
qué
saw a really
hermoso,
cool video
güey.
about it, and I'll be the first to say there is an amazing influence of Mexican car culture and music
Así me voy a pintar
literally
el pelo.
displayed right across the front, isn't that right?
De amarillo.
Absolutely. It just feels like it's a part of the Horizon Festival, like it's just dropped out of the game into your lap.
Absolutely.
Absolutely love it.
And there's so much we do want to show the fans, and it's been quite difficult to decide where to start. So can you maybe tell us a bit more about the game, Mike?
Sure, yeah. So Forza Horizon 5 is bringing the Horizon Festival's unique brand of fun
Órale,
and
pero qué
freedom
guapo,
to beautiful
güerito.
and vibrant Mexico. Players are going to set out across the largest, most diverse open world we've ever built in hundreds of the world's most beautiful and exciting cars.
Yeah, and people think that Mexico is just a desert or a beach, but there's so much more to it, isn't there?
No
That's
mames,
right.
te
Even though it
cae,
does have pretty awesome
pinche
beaches and
vieja.
a number of amazing deserts, it also has vast canyons, hidden...
Geographical features,
No
but
me
what more can
rompa
you
la
tell us about that?
pelota.
So yeah, our Mexican HDR sky captures really illuminate the world to the point where you feel like you're really there. And thanks to the Xbox Series X and S, ray tracing
pero qué
is
bonito
utilized in
chinito.
Forza Vista to really make our cars look more true to real life. You'll encounter the smallest of details as you travel throughout the world.
¿Me le
all
crees que
rendered,
metan carreras de
in striking
peceros en
realism.
Forza?
That's such an exciting
Probablemente
overview. I
sí, güey.
cannot wait. And next up
Estaría
is
bien
something we know
chingón,
the
¿no,
Forza
güey?
Horizon
Que
fans
metieran
have
carreras de
definitely been
peceros. ¿Te
waiting for the
imaginas,
most.
güey?
Mike, what exactly is
¿Te
that?
imaginas con
Yeah,
que
that's right.
música
We
llevara
are
la
about to
cumbia? La de
reveal the cover of Forza Horizon 5, featuring
y ahora,
the
hijo de tu
incredible
pinche madre,
Mercedes
avánzale, te
AMG
voy a ganar el
and the
pasaje, puto.
2021 Ford Bronco Badlands. Should we take a
No,
look?
sería la
Let's do it,
polla,
yeah.
güey. Y la música, güey. ¿Qué hace suponer que esa es música de México, güey? Y el carro se llama Bronco, güey. Dios mío. Imagínate que vayas en el pecero y se suban a saltar. A ver, hijo de su pinche madre, ya se la saben.
And what players can expect when they get behind the wheel.
Yeah, so those differences are exactly why we chose them. The Mercedes AMG 1 marks the first time a car features Formula One hybrid technology almost one-to-one from track to the street. And with the 2021 Ford Bronco Badlands, that's primed for rugged off-roading across Mexico's vast terrain.
And I'm certain people can't wait to see more of what these cars can do in the game, so I don't think we should keep them waiting any longer. Mike, can you tell us about what we're about to see next?
Yes, so in a few moments' time, we'll be kicking off a Forza Horizon 5 Let's Go stream, and everybody should check that out for a big deep dive into loads of new content and features from Forza Horizon 5. But before that, we have 8 minutes of brand new gameplay where we're going to see both the Mercedes AMG 1 and the 2021 Ford Bronco Badlands.
no crean,
And in
puto, yo
typical
tengo pelo,
Horizon fashion, we are
Me
going to see
peino.
active
Voy a
volcanoes,
peinar así como
cars
ese güerito.
jumping out of cargo planes, and a race under beautiful Mexican skies all the way to the Horizon Festival. Should we check it out?
Putas. Bronco, no mamen. ¿Por qué le ponen una puta camioneta Bronco, güey? Ni saben ni lo que quiere decir Bronco, güey. Se murió mi amigo Bronco. Ya se fue al más allá. Era el caballo más atrevido. Bronco a más. Gran caldera del volcán, güey. Dios mío, güey. No sé si eso es halagante o insultante, güey. No mames, pero qué hermoso se ve, güey.
Here we take control of the 2021 Ford Bronco Badlands, atop the towering, snow-capped Gran Caldera volcano.
See you on the other side!
No mames. Holy shit, brother. Qué bueno se ve este juego. Lo quiero ya, güey. Lo quiero ya, te lo juro, güey. Tráiganmelo ahorita. No mames, güey. Qué hermoso se ve, güey. Se ve increíble, güey. No mames, lo quiero, güey. Holy shit, bro. Eso ya es un cinema, que no mamen. No mames, imagínate que los carros los avientes con paracaídas como en un Battle Royale, güey. ¡Qué loco, güey! No mames, güey, hermoso, güey. Qué hype, güey. La neta está buenísimo, güey. No mames, güey. Qué hermoso, güey. Yo lo quiero, güey. Solo es mexicano. En mexicano sería... En nuestro idioma sería... ¡Métele pata, puto! ¡Acelérale, marica! Güey, no estoy jugando, estoy emocionado, güey. Qué bien se ve, güey. ¿Y cómo verga ve este, brother, güey? Mira el parchibús, pero con coches, güey. Thunder in the Jungle. Thunder es un relámpago en la selva, güey, en la jungla, güey. ¿Qué pedo con las traducciones?
Next up is the Porsche 911 Desert Flyer, crashing through the dense jungle tree canopy.
No mames, güey, que salga el Tren Maya, güey. Y el peje arriba. La cuarta transformación. La cuarta transformación. Joder, güey, qué bonito, güey. Imagínense unas carreritas. ¡Órale, pinche Darky, mueve tu puta carcacha! La puta madre, Lemesio, se me acabó el aceite. No mames, güey, qué loco, güey. No mames, qué belleza, güey. Baja California, autopista de Baja California. La puta madre, güey. Qué juego tan espectacular, cabrón. Ya quiero jugarlo, güey.
And on the final leg, we have the stunning Mercedes AMG 1 at full speed across Mexico's sun-baked rocky coast.
This is Mexico.
No mames. Hasta me voy a comprar un volante para jugarlo, güey. Entonces, ¿dónde voy a poner el puto volante, güey? No mames, en Baja California no hay narcos, güey. Es en Sinaloa, pinche narco. Güey, qué hermoso, güey. Y esta idea de aventar los coches en paracaídas se me hace súper mamalona, güey. No mames, gente. Por favor. Aplausos. Uf. Qué buena estuvo, güey. No mames, Forza Horizon hizo la noche con esto. Bueno, la tarde, güey. No mames, gente. No. Qué bueno, La verdad, hype, Vale verga, pero sí, otro aplauso. Neta, qué buena, güey. Oye, está genial, me encantó el juego, Puta. No mames, o sea, Forza Horizon yo creo que salvó el evento, De verdad, lo único impresionante del evento es Forza Horizon 5. Qué cosa tan impresionante, gente, Le vamos a llamar a Juan Carlos.
Hola, Juan Carlos. ¿Cómo estás, chupapija? Te voy a matar cuando vengas.
Güey, creo que es lo único, en serio, o sea, fuera de mame, es lo único rescatable. Vamos a poner otra vez, güey, a Forza Horizon. Aquí. En serio, que es lo único, güey, rescatable de esto, te lo juro, güey. De esto, güey. Vamos a verlo nuevamente, güey. Mira, esta idea de aventar los coches, ojalá que así sea, güey. Que vayas y puta vayas descendiendo en la pista. No mames, sería genial, güey. Mira, güey. Y yo emputado porque el carro se llamaba Bronco, güey. De esto, güey.
We take control of the 2021 Ford Bronco Badlands, atop of the towering, snow-capped Gran Caldera volcano.
See you on the other side!
Aún no termina. A ver. Dice thanks for watching. ¿Cómo vergas, no? Dice thanks for watching, Steven. Ve esto, güey. Honestamente, güey, la neta, Forza Horizon, güey, se ve increíble, güey. Qué motor gráfico tan hermoso tiene, güey. Hey, Tiger, pss, pss, checa el chat. Que dice que si quiero ver más de Horizon, checo Twitch. ¿Y dónde está Twitch? Ok. Twitch TV / Forza. A ver. Vamos a ver. Twitch TV. Forza. A ver, vamos a ver. Espérate. Y si quiero ver más de Forza, güey.
Can really rub it in. Now, I know we announced it on the Xbox show, but to confirm, when can people pre-order and get their hands on it?
I believe it might be up for pre-order now on the Microsoft Store. Yeah, if not now, then very, very soon. And other retailers shortly after that. But I think if you want one now, then jump over to the Microsoft Store.
Perfect. Right. Well, while you go do that, let's talk a little bit more about the initial Drive gameplay, which we just saw, and is, for context, the very first gameplay players will see when they experience Forza Horizon 5. So what was that like? I imagine it's a huge deal finally showing people that part of the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a part of the game that we probably spend the most time working on, the initial kind of opening 10 minutes or so. We want to make a statement and set out what Forza Horizon 5 is, what it's going to offer, what great things you're going to experience over the rest of the game, but condensed down into, in that instance, an 8-minute run. So you see loads of the world, you see different cars, different driving experiences. It just gives you that real buffet of flavors that the game will offer later on. Yes. Smorgasbord, yes.
Yeah, it was really a challenge to try to show as much as we wanted to show without showing everything and fitting in within the nice 8-minute time that we wanted for the initial drive.
I love it. So we're actually going to take a quick look back at the highlights of that gameplay in case you missed it. So let's take it away.
Otra vez el mismo gameplay. Pues se ve mejor con mejor calidad. Güey, es que no mames, míralo, güey, se ve hermoso, güey. ¿A quién no le dan ganas de jugar esto, en serio, güey? O sea, yo creo que todos tenemos como que ese chip de los coches, de la velocidad, güey, pero a veces como que no. Por ejemplo, el Need for Speed que estoy jugando Need for Speed, el Hot Pursuit, el del remaster. Güey, qué juegazo, güey. O sea, neta. O sea, la verdad sí está bien raro, güey. Se ve muy bonito, güey.
Oh, no, that's fine. Touchdown! Not even a scratch. Feels so good.
Las garzas del pinche Krauser.
This is the final drop. The whole festival is waiting.
No ha pasado ni madres de Halo ni de Gears, no va a pasar nada. Güey, mira esto, güey, qué hermoso, güey. Hermoso, güey, no mames.
And that's the start of the game. So you do your initial drive. After all the adrenaline floods through you after that, you actually then get to select your first car, which is what we are now looking at the moment. So can you talk us through the cars that we have on the smorgasbord right now and why they're here as well? Why do we go for these three?
Our second smorgasbord in as many minutes.
I'm going to say it 5 more times. You can count.
Right, okay.
I feel like it. Just decided to add it.
Keep tracking the chat if Charlie does achieve 5 more smorgasbord.
Oh, no.
So these are the 3 cars you can choose from at the start of the game. First up is the Chevrolet C8 Corvette. The car looks absolutely stunning. The insane grip that it manages to hold means it is like a really great car to start the game. It allows you to go super, super fast, but it basically never breaks traction. Next up, we have the Ford Bronco, one of our cover cars, basically the hottest SUV of the year. And then a car that I would say needs no introduction, but we gave it a pretty cool introduction a few weeks ago on the previous Let's Go stream. But yes, it is the 2020 Toyota Supra GR. One interesting point about the car select in this game. In previous Horizons, we had a similar layout of cars at the start of the game, but you can only pick one. It was a bit like choosing your starter Pokemon. This time, whichever one you pick, actually all 3 get added to your garage. So whether you pick the Supra, the Bronco, or the Corvette, that is only a decision that you have to live with the consequences of for as long as you want to stay in that car, as the other ones will be in your garage and go jump into them whenever you like.
Wonderful. So we are going with the Bronco first.
Best choice if you want to go exploring.
And here we go. letting it all soak in. This is so exciting. What a huge moment this is when you start a Forza game as well.
Bronco it is.
This is probably where I spend the most time, is just picking my license plate name. Even though I know I could change it later, it's just...
Oh, absolutely.
It still feels like it's a decision of consequence, isn't it? and Andy going with the default.
Te puedes poner tu placa,
He didn't
güey.
force us all to sit here watching him
Imagínate poner la placa de tu coche,
select
güey.
his name. I guess we should intro Andy.
Yeah, so for anyone wondering, you will hear an additional voice on stream today, and that is the wonderful Andy, who is going to be playing, or actually doing the gameplay today. But we decided we didn't want him on camera, so he's just sat off to the side. He looks excellent. If anyone's,
You may get a sneak peek of him at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, baby steps.
Yeah,
Work my way up to being on camera.
You'll be on the sofa next time, we promise. Okay, so we've picked the car, we picked the license plate. We're going to our first showcase event. What is this going to be? Talk us through what we're about to drive up to.
Yeah, so we've taken part in the initial drive. We've just seen 4 separate cars drop out of the back of a cargo plane, and we thought, well, what next? Let's go race against that cargo plane. And so this is a showcase event in which we will take on that cargo plane.
Perfect. And we're also hearing some characters talking during this drive as well. Who were they? Do we recognize them? Are they new?
The voice you can hear right now is Scott Tyler, the only character to have appeared in all 5 Horizon games. He is our resident DJ on Horizon Base Arena. He's also the hype man at the festival. And in this instance, if I wasn't talking over it, you'd have heard him saying that he's just been pulled off mic. He's been dragged out of the booth for a reason that might become obvious in just a few minutes' time. We're also in Mullahay now as well, right?
Yeah, we're in Mullahay, which is this this town that's right in the middle of the living desert. Very nice, charming town.
No mames, sí tiene huevos para
Just outside
rebasar
the
así,
town is some festival goers.
What are they doing here?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm really excited this. I won't lie to you. There's something so exhilarating about the showcases.
El nuevo parchibús, güey.
What's it like actually making
Imagínate un
a
Battle
showcase?
Royale de
Especially
carreras, güey.
following the
Estaría
ones,
mamalón, ¿no?
for me, the ones that resonate with me the most is Forza Horizon 4. So how does that compare to making 5? I imagine there's an element of one-upping yourself, right?
Yeah, that's
How do we do 4 again, but bigger and better?
I mean, that exact sentiment applies to almost the entire game, and it is absolutely a challenge. And some people have said that we need to stop treating that as a strategy, because we will reach a point where we won't be able to one-up ourselves. But right now, we feel like that is future Playground Games' problem, and not one that we need to worry about, because I think this probably is one of our most spectacular showcases we've put together so far. Andy actually designed this. So Andy, our resident driver, who you may hear the voice of very soon, was actually the level designer who put this showcase together. So if anybody can drive it in a perfect fashion, it will be him.
That's Addison.
No pressure. Yeah,
it's also a new car, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah. This is Ken Block's V2 Escort Cosworth. It's an amazing car built with sort of modern rally specs in mind, with all the aerodynamics and insane grip that those cars have these days. And of course, an amazing livery.
Güey, esa marca de dónde tienes que ir está mamalona, porque luego a veces no sabes para dónde ir, güey.
Yeah, it's not. Is it like 300 horsepower?
Yeah, I think it's 370 horsepower.
Okay, 370. So not crazy powerful, but super lightweight, and can really move. Because it's light as well, the brakes are awesome. So even in some of the tricky driving maneuvers, you have to pull in a minute, it is possible to slow down really fast.
Yeah, and Ken Block's Gymkhana videos are a massive inspiration for me as well.
Oh wow! What, for the showcase event?
Process. Yeah, it was something that I considered when I was sort of making it. If Horizon was to make one of the Gymkhana videos, what would we do? So that's the sort of the lens that I looked at. The event.
Right.
A plane becomes bikes.
No mames.
Perfect timing, right into Guanajuato, which is our main city in the game.
Guanajuato, no mames.
And just like we've shown in previous footage, Guanajuato is like super beautiful city with undulating roads and an underground tunnel network. There's actually a mural right there by Spake, one of the mural artists, our Mexican mural artists. And yeah, I just love the color and the architecture, the Baroque and neoclassical architecture in here.
La moto que le pasó, me salió volando.
Guanajuato Basilica.
one of the most iconic buildings in all of Mexico.
Wow.
It's a stunning building.
Yeah.
You could storm past it in Hoover. Look at the colours as well. I will never forget you said this to me on stream previously, of all the houses being different shades, and it's so gorgeous.
Yeah, and you can't have the same color house next to each other.
Mm-hmm. I like that they all taking their own little off routes as well.
Esos güeyes de las motos los va a pasar como en lo de
coming out of nowhere.
los cabrones.
Yeah, that's the thing about these showcase opponents. They will do anything to win.
Por el exceso de velocidad.
Always up to tricks, aren't they, Andy?
hermano.
Always going to keep the player second guessing what's coming next.
Oh, absolutely.
So we're right up in the northern tip of the map at the moment as well.
So yeah, we'll get a glimpse of the canyon, but we'll take a closer look later.
No mames con ese cabrón, güey. Mira cómo se aventó, güey.
So that bike knew he was beaten. He knew he didn't have a chance. So he has switched to a wingsuit for the final stretch.
Mira.
Oh, wow. Oh, very good.
He'd probably have us beat if he was willing to face plant into the road there. He had to pull his chute. And
you have to make a choice at that point, don't you? Whether you want to win or whether you want to survive the race. Oh, that was incredible. Can you give us any more hints? Obviously, the showcases are so amazing. Can you give us any hints of maybe other showcases that we've got coming up? Or, I don't know, what you're happy to say?
Well, I don't want to spoil it. We've still got so much more to talk about. We do have 4 showcases in the game. One that I am particularly excited about is the train showcase. We've had a train showcase in every Horizon game, but I think this time it really is the best train showcase we have ever done. And I'm really excited to show it off, but that is for another day.
I'm looking forward to that. So what are we going to look at next? I think we're going to start talking about some of the cars, and we're starting with one in particular, and that is the Bronco.
Yeah, we can look at the Bronco. Yeah. So we drove the Bronco to the showcase. We are still in the Bronco now. If the guys want to pick the feed back up. So we're still playing through the start of the game, and Haley, one of our characters, has called us up and asked us to head back to the festival. And obviously, as you can see, we are still in the Bronco. Perfect car for chilling out on a nice leisurely drive like this one, but also a perfect car for heading across the desert or tearing it up through the jungle.
Or heading towards that dust storm in the distance.
Or heading towards a dust storm. That is also a totally valid option.
And send.
Is that engulfed the festival? Is those the hot air balloons you can see just in front of you?
Yes, good call out actually, Charlie. So we always put those hot air balloons above the festival so that oftentimes you can't see the festival because it might be quite low lying versus your position. But whenever you see the hot air balloons, then you'll know that it's one of the festival sites and you can head over towards them. So it gives you that kind of vertical notification that there's a really cool thing you can go and explore there.
I'd be worried if I was them with this weather.
About to get lost in that dust storm, aren't we?
You bought a ticket for the day and you see that in the distance.
Use your skill point here
Andy's getting a
to unlock
perk.
perks. Every car has its own set, offering unique bonuses. Skill points.
And there's a very intimidating dust storm looming in the background.
Yeah.
But that is our first view of the Horizon Festival. I think that's the first time we've shown it.
Care to take a look? My friend Carmen.
So what's Haley talking us through here then? We've just revealed something on the map.
Yes, so still at the start of the game. We've completed that showcase event, we've headed back to the festival, and now Haley is giving us the option of taking part in one of these 2 Horizon stories.
Okay.
So the one at the bottom there with the VW badge is called Vocho, where we'll team up with Alejandra, who's one of our Mexican characters, to help her search for a lost abandoned car, which is the Beetle. The Mexican name for the Beetle is the Vocho. The camera icon is a story called El Camino, in which we will team up with a Mexican photographer called Carmen, and we'll head out, in this instance, into the storm, so into that dust storm that we could just see, and take some awesome photos inside the dust storm.
Amazing.
Both of those, though, are for another day, I think.
Oh, I see. We're not even going to do one of those. All right, then.
Another time.
So what is it we're going to jump into now, then?
I think we're going to dip away.
I'm going to dip the feed. Andy's going to do a quick car swap, and then we will take a better look at the AMG one, I think.
The AMG. Okay, so what can you tell us about the AMG while we're waiting to get it all set up then?
So, yes, alongside the Bronco, it is our other cover car, and frankly, just one of the coolest, most hottest cars in the world right now.
Absolutely.
It's built by Mercedes-AMG. They've taken all of the incredible technology from their Formula One cars and put it into a car that is entirely road legal and looks absolutely incredible, despite basically having the performance of a Formula One car.
Yeah.
It looks incredible, doesn't it? Like it's
the shape of it is stunning.
The shark fin on there, which to me looks like that's there purely to show off, but Andy assures me that there are real performance benefits to it.
And there's this new icon right in the bottom right as well. What's this? Please explain what this is.
So one of the particularly awesome things about this car is if you were to purchase this car, it comes with a couple of modes. And it's quite common for performance cars to have different modes, but they don't.
Oh, sorry, mate.
They don't always. They're not always as cool as this. So on the steering wheel, there's a button that you can press which swaps you from track mode to street mode. So if Andy gives it a click. We're currently in track mode and we'll transition to street mode. So you see those fins over the wheel arch close, the spoiler dips down and the car actually raises on its suspension. So if you need to get over a speed bump or pull up into your drive, then you might put it into this mode. It also kind of smooths out some of the lines, looks a bit sleeker. The cool thing about that is you can just click that button whenever as you're driving around the world, and it really changes the performance of the car as well.
I was about to ask how you would actively use it in Forza. Actually, was there a Sunday drive version of the car versus a race mode?
That is literally what it is, to be honest. This probably isn't the place that car would mostly be at home, smashing through those poor farmers' polytunnels, wrecking all the crops. But yeah, it kind of shows what the car can do. It's still a really powerful, awesome car, and apparently is perfectly drivable through a farm field.
And as you can tell, we're in a new biome that we haven't shown before, which is the Mexican farm field, which is, I guess, farmland is a staple of Horizon games by now. And definitely for Horizon 5, we have some unique Mexican crops, which Andy will drive by. I think we saw him driving through some agave previously.
What are we going to go trash now? What's this?
So these are Mexican beans.
Oh.
Yeah, bean plants.
Gonna have a rough harvest. Andy around.
I think it's worth saying as well that we are currently looking at Xbox Series X gameplay, but it is a development build. So if you happen to spot any weird little quirks and bugs, then that is purely because it's a
game
development
for you.
Yeah. It might even crash. We'll hopefully.
Let's not tempt fate with that one.
No hay un juego así, o sea, realista, por ejemplo. Me imagino que ya trae sus pistas preestablecidas, así, pero que digas, güey, quiero salir desde el DF, güey, hasta, no sé, Veracruz,
awesome crop signs in the fields.
Leave messages for other players.
You can leave messages for other players, yeah.
And contrary to what Andy may have made you believe, there are actually roads within the farmland as well.
It's just like a great car to just toot around everywhere and just, I don't know. This looks like my go-to sort of, I'm just going to drive really fast over a hill and get somewhere car.
I think, right now we'll cut away and just do a little switch.
Oh, we're on to the next car, Ari. Okay, so the next one, what's this?
Yo creo que ya eso es todo. Vámonos a descansar porque yo tengo cosas que hacer. Tengo que hacer comida, tengo que hacer varias cosas. Así es que muchísimas gracias por haberme acompañado en este stream. La verdad estuvo buena. Forza Horizon yo creo que es de lo mejorcito que vamos a ver en estas navidades. Y la verdad sí lo quiero jugar, nenes, Mira ese pinche carro, qué pedo. Pero bueno, muchísimas gracias por haberme acompañado. Les doy unos cuantos créditos. Gracias, la verdad estuvo buena por Forza Horizon. Yo creo que es lo más destacado, creo yo. Muchísimas gracias. Descansen, nos vemos en la nochecita. La nochecita nos vamos a aventar un gearcito y un multiplayer de Halo. Así es que los esperamos en punto de las 8 de la noche en un ratito más. ¿Sale? Gracias, bebés. Pásenla súper chingón. Los amo. Cuídense mucho. Vámonos. Buenas tardes. Adiós. Bye, bye.